Dr. Hovind, I love your doctoral thesis. I've torn it to pieces with house and gaffle. I can't remember when I last pissed myself laughing. It's a good thing the thesis mopped the piss off the floor.
Welcome to part 46 of this read-through and peer review of Kent Hovind's doctoral dissertation, which was published on wikileaks.org on December the 9th, 2009. If you have not yet seen the previous parts in this series, then I recommend that you go back and see those first, as in this episode I will start off exactly where I left off in the last. The last episode was very similar to several previous episodes from chapter 2. This was down to the basic fact that Kent had copied huge chunks out of chapter 2 and literally just pasted them down in this chapter. In this episode we really do hope that Kent can just leave the copy and paste button alone for at least 10 minutes. Do go on, Kent. It is not science versus religion. Don't let them use that phrase when they talk about the controversy of creation versus evolution. No, Kent, I actually agree with that statement. It's science versus bullshit, science versus dogma, even science versus magic, if you want to be polite. But continue. It is not science versus religion. You've used that statement in the last line. It is religion versus religion, and we haven't heard that before. Both of them are simply religious beliefs. Did you sort of stick that on the clipboard on your computer and just liberally paste it in at the end of every, I don't know, third, fourth paragraph? I think you did. But continue. The effect of these religious beliefs has always been of interest to me. I'm sure it has, Kent. It's been of no bloody interest at all to me. But do go on. If we teach our kids in public schools that they are merely animals, then they will act like animals. We should not be surprised. And how's that, Kent? Do they sleep in a basket, hump your leg and shit in the corner? Do they roam around in packs, bringing down wildebeest? How exactly is a human not like an animal? And if they're not an animal, what are they? A pot plant? Or a lump of rock? Do tell us the alternative. If we teach kids in school that they are a creation of God, that God is their creator and will someday be their judge, we can expect their behavior to be different because of their basic philosophy. Yes, Kent, you are so correct in so many ways. We can expect them to be A, retarded, if not mentally, then absolutely certainly in their academic education. We can expect them to be unemployed, or at least in low-paid jobs, unless of course they work for the Discovery Institute or they just tour the lecture circuit talking bullshit, like your own son. And you can generally expect them to end up in prison at some point, a bit like yourself, Kent. But anyhow, the teaching of evolution is important because, number one, it affects our society. Yes, Kent, I will have to agree with that. It does. It affects our society in so many beneficial ways. I mean, just at the basic level, what the theory of evolution has done for medical science and biology in general generally means that, well, society isn't full of pox-ridden peasants limping around with what are in effect curable diseases by today's standards. I think you'll find that society is a much better place because of evolution. But I'm sure you don't agree. No, you don't. Many people down through history, in the name of evolution, have had some dramatic effects on our society. Adolf Hitler, for instance, was an avid evolutionist. Yes, Kent, he was also an avid vegetarian. He was also a Roman Catholic, and he was rather fastidious with his Charlie Chaplin moustache. He was also a avid racist and a megalomaniac, but I guess those don't factor in there, do they, Kent? No. In order to comprehend Hitler's reasoning, one must go back to evolution to understand why he did the things that he did, and thought the way that he thought. Yes, Kent. Oh, yes. No, I'll save my comment until after your next sentence, because only then does it become relevant. Hitler slaughtered the Jews and hated the blacks because he was an evolutionist. No, Kent. He was a racist, and he was a megalomaniac, and he was a Roman Catholic. You see, in Hitler's mind, the Jews were scapegoated because, well, they killed Jesus, and he killed blacks because he thought they were inferior, and that has just as much to do with your ookie-pookie magic book and its assertion that the black races are cursed than anything that you can conjure up to do with evolution. But you're going to try anyway. Carry on, Kent. He thought it was his duty to aid evolution in improving the human race. He taught and believed that each of the different races in the world were actually different species of man, and that it was the job of the superior species, brackets Germany, to annihilate the inferior species. Yes, Kent, and I think we've already established that Hitler was a bit of a nutter, but do go on. In the name of evolution, Hitler closed down the Christian schools in Germany in the early 1930s. He began indoctrinating the people heavily with the idea of the German superior race, saying that because of evolution they had evolved further, and it was their duty to rule the world. Kent. And exactly, pray do tell, how that is any different from our religion is the one true religion, and it will eventually take over the world. It sounds very similar, doesn't it, Kent? You see, that's because anybody whose intention to take over the world is usually a nutter, and invariably they usually come to a sticky end, from falling off their horse to hiding in a hole in the ground when the conquering armies come to knock on the door. But do go on. Let me give you a quote here. Sir Arthur Keith, in his book Evolution and Ethics, 1947, page 10, said, "The leader of Germany is an evolutionist, not only in theory, but as millions know to their costs in the rigour of its practice. For him, the national front of Europe is only the evolutionary front. He regards himself, and it's regarded as the incarnation of the will of Germany, the purpose of that will being to guide the evolutionary destiny of its people." I've given up debunking Kent's quote mines. Just go to Talk Origins, they're usually on there. But anyway, Hitler was an evolutionist, and it was the crazy doctrine of evolution that is fundamentally responsible for World War II. And yes, we've debunked that statement earlier on in the series as well. And guess what? In Japan, the same thing was going on with the Shinto religion. This teaches that the Japanese people evolved from gods, and it was their destiny to rule the world. Japan and Germany got together, and we had an awful time in World War II, which for anybody who has read this far, or seen this far in the series, is lifted directly out of the end of Chapter 1. There really is nothing new under the sun, is there, Kent?